Hey guys, how's it going? Thought I would do a sort of build review of I guess it's a resolute technique Vaal double strike. I haven't made a video on PoE in a while, and I guess disclaimer: this isn't my build. I just pick a build that I like the look of. I play it, and I'll tell you how it feels, and yeah, generally stuff like that. I'm not a guy that creates a build and, well, not typically, and then goes and posts it on Path of Forums and, describes it. I'm the guy that usually just thinks this build looks cool, I'll try it out, and then I'll report back if it was worth it, if it was good, this and that. So what I'll do is I'll put some gameplay in whilst I chat, then we'll take a look at the gear, and you can judge for yourself as well. So this is the highest tier map I've done currently in Delve. This is the first time I've been in a tier 16, and I've finally got all my gear going. So this is sort of the test of, if this can't kill Lair of the Hydra now, it's probably never going to kill it. Because I've pretty much, I wouldn't say min-maxed my gear, but it's getting there. So, as you can see, we'll just start out by talking about the build. What I'm doing right now is I'm doing double strike. The ability I'm using, I can send out Vaal double strike, which is the boys, as Mathel calls them. I'm using melee splash, ancestral call, melee fizz. I'm using maim. You could use added fire, and I'm using obviously Vaal double strike. I'll just put myself on D&D for now, and generally you're going to be leap slamming around. I'm currently temp changed, but yeah, you're going to be leap slamming around. As you can see, when you hit the AoE around it, the actual ancestral call is helping you out. And this is a tier 16. Now, initially, your map clear is kind of slow. That's what I'll tell you. But this is not a meta build. It's a two-handed axe for a start, which are kind of weak right now in the meta because you can't use stat sticks. I'm going to try to stop using the word meta because I actually hate that word. That's a word that should be used for MOBAs. But you can see, it's not the fastest clear. However, I'm in a tier 16, so right now I don't really want to die. So, I'm taking it a bit slow. But if you get your Blood Rage on, you get all your pots up, tier 16 map clear is actually not that bad, right? Leap slam, hit a pack, maybe it's not Blade Vortex, right? Maybe I'm not one-shotting the pack, and then moving on. I do have to do some manual targeting sometimes, but that's fine for me because I wanted to play a slightly off-meta build. I've used the words meta again, but I mean, it's true. It is off-meta. There aren't many two-handed axe builds. So I'll explain the reason I chose the build was I wasn't... I just didn't want to play another stat stick build. I didn't want to play crit, and it was my very first build in the league, so I wanted something cheap. So my idea was, if I don't play a crit build, I can just get an axe, and, I can just get an axe, wing it, I can play Sunder. If I don't get anything in the league, I can, what's the word I'm looking for? If I don't get anything in the league, I can just do a lab farmer and make my currency. So it was sort of a backup option. Also, this is a Slayer, and I've never played a Slayer before, so I was interested in seeing how Slayer handled, and I had done some slight theory crafting. I thought maybe I could Slayer regen and cull in the deep delves, because 20% cull is important. Now, I've never actually attempted the Guardian on this build, so we'll see how it handles right now. So bear with me, because I'm not sure how this one's going to go. Looks like pretty solid damage coming out the park right now. And as well, you got to note, every build that I've ever killed a Guardian on, I've managed to kill Shaper. So if this can kill Guardians, which evidently it can, judging off this, I kind of played it sloppy because I'm talking. But if you can kill a Guardian, you can kill Shaper. That's just how that's how it works. Like, there's never been a build where I've killed all 4 Guardians and then failed Shaper. So right now, it's Guardian viable. And yeah, I've put a lot of currency into it, but I can give you some options and things to maybe help you out, because you know, not everyone has a huge amount of currency. And remember, I started this build sort of as a starter build, right? This is my only character in the league. It's not got me some, what's the word I'm looking for? I haven't just played this and then bought a disfavor instantly and 6-linked it. No, like I started out, and I'll show you the budget options that I used. Again, if you want to see more gameplay in Uberlab, I've been Uberlabbing on it fine. Haven't died yet in Uberlab. You can see I've opened up 200 boxes almost, so I've been doing some Uberlab. It handles that just fine. And Uberlab has a slightly different approach than a Juggernaut. So what I do when I Uberlab farm, as I can show you now, is typically I won't have these pots. I've only just bought these pots yesterday as well. So what I'd normally do is have an extra pot. I'd have a writhing jar, have an extra life pot, and we can show you the general gist of it, and then we'll talk a little bit further about the actual gear, path of building, things like that. So Slayer has overleech, so when you kill something, your life isn't removed, the leech effect isn't removed because you're at full HP, it sort of stores it. So you just buy yourself a 1C jar, you go ahead and you kill the worms, and now you've got, imagine, an extra bit of health pool that isn't showing. So then you just set off, you leap around, and you notice how I get hit, it jumps back up. So again, if you think, oh, this is going to be a difficult area, like there's a certain hard trap coming up in the lab, what you can do, you can go hit the pots, and then when you're leaping through the lab, the next time you get stuck on, there you go, you see it jump up, it's jumping up again, and that creates actually a very fast labbing experience. It does take a while for the lab experience to become comfortable. I wasn't enjoying it at first, but I've never played a Slayer, and I wasn't too familiar with the leech mechanics. I've always played Juggernauts, and they're just brain dead tanky, right? However, since getting used to it, improving my gear, my life pool and stuff like that, it's actually felt really comfortable to lab. I've done fully buffed up charges, conduits, stuff like that, and it hasn't died. Fully buffed up charges, yeah, it's kind of rippy. You don't have endurance charges in the lab. You don't have certain things, but because you have Slayer Cull, the last phase, you basically it just dies for free anyway. So, you know, that's how it's going to handle lab traps, something like that. So far, the demonstration's going pretty well. So, after you've done your mapping and you've done that, you can also delve. I'm currently at 165 depth. I'm not at 1,322 like this guy. But I believe if you can kill Shaper, your build's probably going to manage at least a decent depth level, I would hope. And I'll talk about some clunky aspects and some good and bad points. So, the gear, well, look at this prophecy farmer. The gear that we're using is, well, we have some beginner options. We can talk about path of building if I can find my axe and stuff that I used. So right now, I'm pretty much full build. I've got Taste of Hate, Lion's Roar, GGZII Flask, which could become something different, like a sulfur flask I'm trying to craft, but I've got no alterations. Stibnite, and I've got 2 at GGZII axes. So you're probably now thinking, oh, this is stupid, it's not a budget build, this is just, it's not good. But it's actually been working very well with a Sin Vitica's metal axe, which is a 1 chaos unique. This isn't even selling 6-socketed for 10c, so it's a really cheap axe, and I've been using this absolutely forever, up until last night. So the general idea is we're going to be, again, using Vaal Double Strike. And the slight clunkiness I will show you happens in scenarios like this. This is an example of hard content that is saved by a weapon swap. So this is a Boxer. This is triple Beyond. It had double Beyond and a Prophecy Beyond. It had a Boxer and Zoth spawn at the same time. So just showing you like what kind of content it can handle. So here I'm on my 5-link Aoe Clearing. And what has happened in the much harder maps is sometimes your AoE isn't good enough. So what I do now is I swap out to my single target axe and I can blow them both up. Because in scenarios like this, PoE is becoming a game where when something like that happens, when Zoth and when a Boxith both appear, you can't be like, hold on a minute, let me just change my gems in the breach and let me just change my melee splash and my ancestral bond. Oh, I've been one-shotted by a Boxith and Zoth, right? So what I've been doing up until now is I've been using a 5-link Sinvitica's Metal Axe. This gives Rampage, AoE on Rampage, and you can clear really well with this. So this costs like 5C. 5-linked, probably. So you can clear with that, and then if you just hit X, so you're running around, you're like, I'm clearing, X, single target. You could even have 2 Sinvitica's axes until you get a disfavor, and then you can use your disfavor for single target. Or you could just have slightly different, you could get rid of the totem and have a 5-link AoE in your belly and a 6-link in your axe. There's lots of options, but what I found best is basically this. You're running around, you're clearing with your Sinviticas, and then you weapon swap into your single target. That way, if there's any super hard rares, you can just chunk them out. So yeah, that's just a little thing that I've been doing. The helmet, up until I got a Devotos with the enchant, which is 50 chaos, I was using any rare helmet with the enchant. It was like 5C to buy, so you don't even need the enchant. The enchant's just the juice on top. The reason the Devotos is nice if you can get it is it gives 20% move speed, and I'll run through the links and stuff. Carnage Heart, because leech, damage per leech, fizz, leech, res, stats. It's just really good. Belly of the Beast, we've all seen this. Example, you might think, wow, he's got 40% max life belly. That's expensive. Well, I bought the worst roll in the game and I divined it and got lucky. I was using a 30% up until a few days ago. Pretty average fizz belt. If I move myself so you can actually see. If I move my camera down here, because I just realised the whole time I've been talking, this is the problem with getting no live feedback, is you can't actually see what's going on. So again, Aziriax, Devotos with the enchant, Carnage Heart, Tempest Circle, just to shape a ring with life, res, a crafted res. Some Comms Roots, the boot enchant, honestly, haven't even noticed it, don't really need it. But you're a lab farmer, so you can run it anyway. And some Tomb Fists. These have got vulnerability on hit, and they've got a murderous eye jewel in, which means I will intimidate. I think I've got some left in the shop. What I've been doing, yeah, I've been buying them for 5C. They're like 3 to 5C, and I've just been valing them. Eventually, you get vulnerability on hit. Honestly, 3C isn't that expensive to just find 3C in a map and then Vaal. That's like a late game upgrade. Again, and your flasks. So if you want to know links, I've got Melee Fizz, Melee Splash, Ancestral War Call, Maim, Double Strike. That's my 5-link. That's my AoE clear. For single target, Double Strike, damage on full life, Multi-Strike, Maim, Melee Fizz, Ruthless. So if you don't want to do the 5-link approach, which I do recommend, the weapon swaps of the Sinviticas, you just basically put in Melee Splash, an Ancestral Call, for damage on full life and multi-strike. So what I was doing, this is why my helmet has 2 reds. I was doing this for a long time. So I would go, right, this is my single target. And then I've done the boss, right, back to mapping. And I just swap them across like this. So that's, you know, that's an option. Carnage Heart, self-explanatory. Now my Leap Slam 45, Blood Magic. And then I've got faster attacks for the... So that's my Leap Slam setup there, that 4 link. And then I've got a totem in there. And there's just my Herald of Ash there. The reason this is unlinked is I don't want Blood Magic Herald of Ash. So actually, you only need a 5 link. You don't want a 6 link belly. This has my Immortal Call set up. Immortal Call and cast when damage taken. And it's got Blood Rage, which doesn't cast when damage taken because it's high level, so you can manually cast it. And that's it really. Just a 6 link for your absolute single target, or a 5 link, and then a 5 link AoE and a 5 link chest. Again, flasks, I was using these flasks up until last night, where I finally made the currency to purchase some. So I was just using this setup really. Just 2 life flasks. A sulfur flask gives me like, you know, a little bit more damage. This gives me a little bit more damage. And then eventually I upgraded to have all my flasks. But again, that's something that you can work on. So the way this works is I've got a Mark of the Elder Steel ring. This cost me, I think, 10c for these rolls as well. So it's not that expensive. And this means that if your other ring is a shaper item, you get 80% increased attack damage, and you get Tentacle Whip, which, well, I think I can show it. Well, it's basically just like the Elder Tentacle Whip, and it does a little bit of damage, a little bit of AoE damage to help you out. So again, we're a non-crit build. The tree, I'll give you a link to Path of Building down below, but the way I leveled it was I just got the attack speed. I got through here, got a little bit of damage. Now, I travelled all the way up when I was leveling to Resolute Technique. Probably if I was leveling this again, I'd take these nodes, because they'd give you some stats that you need as well early on to level gems. And then I would connect this way to Resolute Technique. And again, you can fill out the axe wheel. This is your leech here. I took Vaal Pact after I'd done Uber Lab. And now what I'm doing is I'm filling out this life wheel. And if I could get to level 95, I'd probably get myself another gem, another jewel socket. Sorry, about here. So I'll explain how I've capped my res, because I think that's kind of important. The way I've capped my resists for this build is we're using a lot of uniques. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 uniques, 7 uniques. So it is quite hard to res cap, but that, you know, that all comes with added time and playing. So I crafted this ring. It's really not that difficult to craft. I just alt spammed until I got 76 life. And then I augmented. It happened to hit lightning res. And then regaled. It hit strength, which wasn't great, but I guess it's a little bit more life. And then I just crafted 25 fire. My belt only has 2 mediocre resistances, so that could be improved. And I found a Carnage Heart that had corrupted res on it. It helps a little, but, you know, I could just upgrade the belt instead of doing this. Now the jewels are, I guess, kind of important because I've been getting these type of jewels. Fizz damage with axes, attack speed and res. Now this is a 4 property jewel, and normally if you're showing a build off and it's a 4 property jewel, like imagine that was proj damage, chaos damage, max life, area damage, you know, you'd be like, whoa, that's expensive. But this was like 5c. This jewel here, attack speed, fizz damage, and some res, like, I think I found it from the lab. Attack speed, res, attack speed, damage, And that's what I've been doing. Attack speed, attack speed, attack speed, res. Because you are using a Disfavor or a Sinviticus, and they have like 1.4 to 1.5 attack speed. So, you know, it's... What's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? It's not a very fast weapon. You're not buying a two-handed crit foil with 2.1 attacks per second. So yeah, you do need some attacks per second via duels. But as you can see, it's been doing just fine. At the beginning, it's really good because I leveled it with Consecrated Path or Sunder. And it's like any duelist build is really nice to level because you just zip along. You have damage, life, and it's an okay build to level. The way I leveled it, you can level it with some Screaming Jade hatchets or, you know, some Physax. But I mean, I started this at the beginning of the league and I had nothing. And I just used what I found Fizz-wise. And it was fine. I just blasted through the campaign with Sunder, Conk Effect, added Fire, stuff like that. Or you can use Consecrated Path, which is kind of like Flicker Strike. So that's kind of the build. It has killed Uber Elder. I've seen a video of it. Whether I can kill a Uber Elder with it, I don't know. But it is Uber Elder viable. So that's the build that I've been playing. And that's how it's been going. Pretty much we're almost at the end of the build. I'm level 91. I've just killed a Guardian. I'll see how far I can delve down. And I just thought, whilst I've got a bit of spare time, I'd just show you what I've been up to on Path of Exile. And yeah, you can tell me how your build's going. What build should I be playing next if I pick another one. There we go.